I am now going to introduce our first team who is going to be pitching. Our first team is a nonprofit organization focusing on empowering young Ghanaian entrepreneurs through entrepreneurship and innovation. Please welcome Wings of Change.
My name is Lois Amponsa. I'm a Wesleyan student, majoring in economics.
My name is Francisca Ando AJ, and I'm a computer science student here at Yale. I'm a junior.
And we are Wings of Change. Wings of Change empowers young Ghanaian entrepreneurs to transform their ideas into ventures through entrepreneurship and innovation. This is Ofe Emmanuel. I met Ofe Emmanuel during Project Children Initiative 2023. Despite the challenges of living in a less privileged environment and being an orphan, Emmanuel turned discarded materials into inventive products by building a prototype drone using cardboards and electronic gadgets. Emmanuel's story is one of resilience, creativity, and the need to support youth innovation and entrepreneurship. In Ghana, for those aged 15 to 24, the unemployment rate is 24.3% for men and 34.9% for women.
And some courses include limited focus on entrepreneurship in schools, which creates a cycle of poverty. So unlike other organizations who focus on already established businesses, Wings of Change focuses on bringing entrepreneurship education and opportunities to teens in rural areas and help them to build. So how do we do this? We take our innovators through workshop and vocational training on budgeting, crocheting, sewing, and many more. We create a space for innovators to collaborate with each other and their mentors. We also partner with companies to organize field trips for our innovators to industries and manufacturing sites. Finally, we provide seed funding to support budding ventures. We also direct them to other avenues for sponsorship. So we also we have our e-commerce platform, which is in progress, and the plan is to use it to facilitate the trade of products from our students' ventures. So in 2023, the team made a survey, and out of 100 respondents, 82% responded no to have you ever initiated or owned a business or project. And 87% responded yes to are you interested in becoming an entrepreneur in the future, which showed a demand for a program like ours.
So far, we have reached 500 plus students through past projects. In 2022, we started as a group of high school students partnering with AFS Ghana to provide educational seminar, a one-day educational seminar in Susuansu rural community. From the program and from direct interviews, we understood the gap between education and entrepreneurship and shifted our focus to bridging that gap. So in 2023, we worked with 30 volunteers to provide a 3-day innovation challenge in schools in rural communities in the Ashanti region. And in 2024, we grew to 50 volunteers working again with AFS Ghana, with YAV Ghana, with the then CEO of Ghana Enterprises Agency, and then UniJ Ghana Limited to organize a 1-month entrepreneurship education program for students in rural communities. So far, we have supported 4 ventures since we evolved as Wings of Change NGO. The ventures are bead and bag making. This is Abigail. She's currently making sales in bead and bags, and she makes extra income during the tourist season. Kwame is making portraits of people and is boosting his income through that. And this is Isabel. Isabel is recreating Ghanaian stories, shifting from older stories that were focused on Western concepts like snow, eating a bagel, that is very foreign to the Ghanaian child. And this is our most successful entrepreneur. She's currently producing locally made and packaged palm kernel oil, and then she's able to sell that to support her tertiary education. And she's based in Tamale, the northern part of Ghana. There has been roadblocks preventing our scalability, and these roadblocks include resource limitation, not being able to cover the transportation costs for volunteers and students to the place, and also not having a centralized location and doing our engagement in borrowed classrooms. With the Manolo Sanchez Prize, good morning, sir, we'll be able to scale our program by providing a makerspace where entrepreneurs can come together with the skills and the equipment to be able to produce their ventures and their products. We'll be able to also cover transportation costs to help volunteers and students to the field trip, to industries, and also to the makerspace. And finally, we noticed a gap in sales. So these entrepreneurs produce their products and they are not able to put it on the market because they are not being able to sell their products. And so we intend to provide a salesperson or a marketing person who will be able to help us in that regard.
So this is the plan for summer 2025. We plan to select about 200 participants, take them through 3 months of training, and the alumni engagement involves post-programming, stuff like helping the selected student ventures to build. So currently, we generate funds through fundraising, sporadic generosities from people, and crowdfunding platforms. In the next year, we also plan to grow our funding through offering entrepreneurship workshops to schools in Ghana, expanding our e-commerce platform to accommodate local businesses at a fee, and earning a percentage from marketing alumni products. So we have this incredible, talented team who have helped us grow throughout the years. And then we have partnerships with Enlight Education, AFS Ghana, Young Achievers Foundation Ghana, and UniJ Limited.
So invest in us, and you are investing in the future of young people like Surya to sell their products on the market. Invest in us, and you are investing in young lives like Ofe Emmanuel to bring their innovation to life. Thank you.
Thank you, Wings of Change. Now, before we go into Q&A, there are some things I forgot to mention. This is David's second year judging, so I just wanted to acknowledge the returning judges. Thank you so much. And also, please put your phones on Do Not Disturb silent as we are continuing our pitches. Now, we'll go into Q&A. I will pass the mics around because the judges are sitting a bit far apart from each other. But yes, so let's start. We'll start with questions.
Thank you so much for that pitch. I'm wondering if you could talk about some of the financial health impacts that have impacted the 4 ventures or the 4 students that you supported. Could you share any information about what they've been able to do business-wise?
Thank you very much. So I spoke to Syria literally last week, and I wanted to know more about her palm oil production. And she sent me the pictures of her being able to package it and being able to sell it within her community. So she sells it within her community in a small scale, and she's able to support her tertiary education through that. And aside her, so the first person doing the bead and bag making, she made us know the gap that is in the sales right now. She says she's been producing the product, but then currently she's not getting the sales. And so she normally gets sales during the tourist season, the festival season, but then sales are not progressing. And that is why I added the sales part to make sure we are able to fill that gap and make sure these people are able to sell their product. Thank you.
Very inspiring presentation. Great job. 2 questions. So I know you talked about the unemployment rate in Ghana for men and women. Can you help me understand how this initiative would help minimize or eliminate or eradicate that unemployment rate, maybe long term? That's number 1. Number 2, is this only focused in the Ashanti region or is this countrywide?
Okay. So for Ghana is a developing country, and then there are lots of avenues for entrepreneurship. But then people lack the skills to be able to do that. And also entrepreneurship is seen as it's for the elite and then the rich. And so we have talented individuals in rural area, people don't even know. So our plan is to build them to light. So eventually it's a long-term plan. It's not going to happen overnight, no. But then one person at a time, when we help one person at a time to help their families, eventually there's going to be development. It's not going to happen overnight. Also, the second question, whether is in okay, yeah. So for now, we are based where we know people and where we can carry out our operations. So when we get sponsorships and then funds and then help from pitches like this and then other funding opportunities, we are going to expand it. So one place at a time. But for now, we are focused on the Ashanti region. But also, for example, they are very successful entrepreneur doing their palm kernel oil. She is based in the northern region, but then she came to visit her family in the Ashanti region, and that's how we got to know her, and then we helped her out. And then she is working in the northern region right now, so her sales is in the northern region. So for now, we are in the Ashanti region, but then when we are able to expand and get a maker space with the Manolo Sanchez Prize, we can find talented people from other regions and bring them there for the meantime, for now.
Also to add to that, so last year we are both from Young Achievers Foundation, and the board of advisor, one of the advisors on Young Achievers Foundation spoke to me and was like, she always sends donations to the orphanage, and some of them have graduated, they do not have a job, and then they ask for money to start businesses. But the thing is, you give them this money, and then she's like, oh, the business collapsed. And then she told me this gap that was currently existing. And that was when I was like, I definitely need to make this better and make sure that they reach these people and teach them the skills in investment, budgeting. I'm also an economics major, so I'm teaching myself and making sure I'm good. And when I need help, I have an advisor, the immediate past CEO of Ghana Enterprises Agency, and she's able to coach me through it as well. And that's how we help bridge the gap in employment.
We'll take one more question.
Hi, just echoing everyone. Thank you so much for the presentation. Do you mind sharing a little bit about the longer term engagement with a broader group of young people that you're working with outside of those who have started the ventures?
The longer term engagement, in terms of like sustainability or in terms of the impact we have for young people?
I think in terms of sustainability, as well as if there is like engagement prior to participating in the entrepreneurship program.
All right, thank you so much. So we reach these students primarily through the headmasters from school. We go to these schools, tell them about the problem, and tell them about our program, and tell them to help us recruit students like these that can help us, we can help them to start their businesses. And also in terms of our sustainability, mainly we have been tracking the membership growth. So as of last year, we are at 50, and we currently just sent out more volunteer form for people to sign up. And so we are hoping by the next year we will grow to a volunteer membership of 100. And these volunteers come up with are present with these number of skills to help teach those students. And last year we had 4 products, and so we are looking to progress. These are our projections that at least there'll be 20 products, and that's how we are gauging our progress in the long-term run. So we are measuring membership, products, and also the revenue these students generate from their business. And we are also tracking the number of people who visit our website. Thank you.
Another quick question?
I'll take one. Okay. What role do you see the government in Ghana playing in all of this? Because, typical of Africa, right? The government has to be involved in everything for it to be successful. Would love your perspective there.
We are a non-profit, and then we are registered in Ghana as a non-profit. For now, the only role we see the government playing is we've been registered. And then right now, we are not really in the export slides right now. So probably as we develop our website and then our program and it grows and then the impact starts being palpable, maybe we can start securing government funds and maybe scholarships for even some of the students. But then for now, it is on us.
Unfortunately, we're out of time. Okay. But thank you so much to judges for your questions. Thank you. Also, thank you so much, Wings of Change. All right. So next up, our next team is a fintech app. Our next team is building a lifestyle-first fintech app that seamlessly integrates investing in everyday life. Please welcome Wealth Me Up.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. I'm Feli, the CEO of Wealth Me Up, and together with Jesse, our CFO, we're going to present you our vision to change the way that millions of underserved consumers, especially women, build wealth. Did you know that if your income is not at the top 20%, you're very likely to end up being poorer than your parents? For many people, especially those in the lower income brackets, that they face stagnant wages and rising costs, there is no room to invest, not to mention no confidence or knowledge. This, without investing, it is very difficult to break this circle of financial struggle and build wealth over time. But here is where we ask the following question. What if your expenses that cause you this financial struggle is the way for you to accumulate long-term wealth? At Wealth Me Up, our vision is clear and bold. We make every spender an investor. Americans spend 3.5 times more than they invest. And while accumulating cashback, rewards, points on these purchases, no one really thinks of them as an opportunity for growth, as an investment tool. This leaves an untapped opportunity, especially for younger demographics and women who drive the majority of this spending, but are left underrepresented in investment platforms. Here's how we flipped this narrative by introducing our Invest As You Go app. Through our app, you seamlessly invest your everyday expenses. So think about that. You go, you do your normal grocery shopping. You go for a lunch, you go for a coffee, you buy for your house. And you tap your card to pay, and before even thinking about, oh my God, how much did I spend again? Part of this spending gets invested for your future financial security. And here how it works step by step. First, you earn. You shop online or in person, and you get access to cashback in our over 7,000 partner shops. Then you invest. We invest these earnings seamlessly for you in a diversified and well-personalized portfolio that we have curated just for you in partnership with Betterment, one of the leading players in the investment space. Finally, you learn. We provide AI-driven, gamified financial education to make you learn in an engaging and fun way.
So this is not a niche idea. You know, in the next great generational wealth transfer, women, especially Gen Z and millennial women, are set to inherit a lot of wealth, up to $47 trillion. But we're focused on we're starting with 6 million underserved women as our initial target. We're able to do so because we are actually profit positive with this low market segment, thanks to our low customer acquisition costs that allows us to realize a net lifetime value of over $200 for some customers. How much customer acquisition costs? $5. We're able to do this because we have a merchant-first go-to-market strategy. How does that look like in practice? For example, we started with 15 local restaurants and stores in New Haven, and then through that, we generated initial traction of over 50 users a month. After validating that approach, we partnered with aggregators to expand our reach to over 7,000 brands nationwide, and we're currently pursuing individual partnerships directly with national brands. We also, and basically in short, we are putting the onus of customer acquisition on our merchant partners, allowing us to avoid extensive B2C marketing. It's a win-win-win, right? Users get to get more value from their spending. Businesses get a lower cost way to approach new users, and also build brand loyalty, and we're able to efficiently grow on this low cost acquisition engine. So our business model unlocks multiple revenue streams. On one hand, we have our merchant partners would pay commission on purchases by our users, or they pay a subscription fee. And on the other hand, we collect a management fee on assets under management. Think about us as Rakuten meets Robinhood, right? We make investing approachable, effortless, and relevant to your daily lives. And unlike a lot of traditional players, we meet our users where their needs are. And by building our product around their daily routines, we can make wealth a part of their daily habit.
Through the last year, we have reached so many milestones. We have built key partnerships with the likes of Betterment. We have been featured in media, including Forbes, as one of the 15 fintech companies to look for. We have graduated from the Bank of America Accelerator, raised our family and friends round. We have grew the platform to over 3,000 users that are currently accumulating cashback through our partners. Most importantly, just yesterday, we got approved by the SEC, and we are now a registered investment advisor, meaning that from next week, we can start trading on behalf of our clients. And this is just the beginning. Our focus for the second quarter is just growth, growth, growth. We want to grow our user base and make it more engaging. And for that, the Manolo Sanchez Prize is catalytic. It will allow us to hire Daniel and Michelle and fund them for 4 months. Daniel is a senior full-stack developer with 6 years of experience. Michelle is a Yale alumni and exceptional UI designer, and they're going to work on product development and user experience. Wealth Me Up is a product of my very personal experiences. I grew up in Greece during the financial crisis, not fun times, and I noticed firsthand the financial struggles and how women especially are left behind. I trained in law but switched to finance because of that, and I spent the last 10 years in Asia, Europe, and the US. Across the board, the same pattern. The gender investment gap persists, and investing just feels disconnected from everyday life. This is what brought our team together, a team of highly specialized individuals in tech entrepreneurship and finance. And we are happy to announce that our advisor, David Carter, he sits right there, a senior wealth manager, MD at JP Morgan, 2 successful exits. He's now set to join us full-time as our first chief investment officer. We are live on App Store and Android. Please download the app and join us, and let's get your everyday lifestyle and spending invested. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Wealth Me Up. We'll take questions from judges now.
Hi. As a consumer who loves getting cash back, how do you convince me that I should not have that immediate satisfaction, instantaneous cash back in my Rakuten account, and see that in X amount of time I'll get this amount instead? Like, what's the user experience that convinces me that's a better way to go?
Well, the effect of compounding, right? It's significant, and one thing that we really stress to our customers is the idea that, you know, $1 invested today could be worth significantly more down the road, especially with historical returns, right? 10% S&P returns historically for the past 30 years. You're talking about, you know, again, $30 a month over 40 years is like $167,000. But even for then, because our whole product is designed, and our initial target customer is sort of that sort of the person who can't really afford to go and invest, right? But we want to stress to them that, again, 10 months of savings of doing this, about $30 a month of contribution, is enough to get you to $500, and that's enough for your kind of your rainy day fund, right, for emergency, right? That's what the general government kind of sets as a metric. And then 28 months, 27 months about is enough to replace a paycheck, right? $1,400. So what we're really stressing to them is the idea that, you know, incrementally you are building a nest egg, and this is for stability versus just sort of short-term gratification.
Plus, we make it very engaging in the platform, so you cannot resist, and you get cashback from various sources at once.
Great, thank you for the pitch. I'm wondering if you could talk a little bit more about your target customer. I know you shared your TAM, but any additional details would be great.
You want to talk about that?
Sure. So again, there's a little bit of background about myself. I worked in Capital One student card business before coming to, so I'm a Yale MBA student. So one thing with there is, right, there's a couple of things when it comes to our target customer. We think about maybe in 2 ways, right? There's sort of the person who can't really afford to invest and the person who doesn't really know how to invest, right? And that's just sort of where we're looking to go first. So and sometimes those overlap, right? Obviously, a lot of it coincides. So we really want to target that person who generally very much lower on the income scale, and that also applies to students, right? You are probably spending money, but you're probably working off an allowance from your parents. You're again, you're a student, you're in school. Best you're making is a part-time gig. So we're looking at, again, that person who's, again, not putting $20,000 into a Robinhood account. They have Robinhood for that. Robinhood works perfectly well for them, right? We want to look for the person who wants to make investing sort of that automatic thing. This is, again, where we're returning money that they already spent. And then this is something that they don't have an excuse to say, I can't afford to invest because this is money already spent, and we're clawing that back for you in a way that we can help you build wealth.
Got it. Great, thank you.
Thanks. This is a great presentation. I've seen you pitch a few times now, and it's gotten so much better each time. So congrats, and congrats on the recent achievements as well. Curious about, beyond the fees you're taking for assets under management, are you charging the user any other fees?
At the moment, we do not, and this is great with respect to our competitors because, for example, Acorns, a close competitor, does charge $3 to $12 per month. We do not. We charge 50 bips that we revenue share with Betterment, and then we charge the merchants a commission or a subscription based on the sales that we make for them. So we really make it seamless for the user to use the platform without any additional cost.
And I'm not sure how long you've had the partnerships with the merchants, but are you seeing, what's your rate of renewal if there's a partnership term with the merchants? How are those results proving for them?
Yeah, so with the local merchants that we work, and there are many in New Haven, first of all, we work with them. No one has dropped. But we see a very sustainable growth in our user base, around 50 users per month coming through the local shop, the local bagel shop. And we are able to generate for these shops repeated users, but most importantly, have data about how their demographic, that shops looks like. So make their marketing more targeted. So that's really important to them. But we do see repeated users. So as a loyalty program, it really works. And we have a very strong argument to say that it's an enhanced loyalty program that allows them to differentiate in a very busy space of rewards.
That's great. Thank you.
Very insightful presentation. So a couple of questions. Is the goal here to educate, or is the goal here to create convenience? Two different things, right? Because when you think about why behind women not investing, I don't know if it's a convenient thing. Maybe it's an educational thing, or just the lack of knowledge. Can you shed more light on that, please?
Yes, I do. And I will share from recent experience actually talking to our communities of women, and not only talking to universities, talking to female associations. It's a knowledge gap, yes. However, no one really learns just from books or just from videos. That's why we do have an educational component. However, the whole experience with learning and investing is the education piece. What these women tell me is that I don't have enough money. That's the number one that you hear. And if I have money, you know what? I don't have the confidence. I don't come from parents who know how to invest. I just don't know where to start. And I hear that more from women than from men. What we say is that, yes, but you had money to go to the supermarket. So you do have money to invest. And we help you do that, and we help you build up the confidence to do that. And when these women went through the platform and said, oh, yes, I do buy from Ulta. I do buy from Sephora. Yes, so now I can become an investor by doing that. This was really powerful, and this teaches you what investment is, more than a course itself that we do provide, but as a support. So our aim is to educate you by doing and help you actually build wealth, not just learn about how to build wealth.
Good. And then my other question, so you said you're registered with the SEC.
Yes.
Do you have money managers? Do you have investment advisors behind the scene that are doing these trades? And how do you pay these folks if you have any? on the
Yeah,
team?
so we are co-advisors with Betterment, and Betterment, who is one of the leading investment platforms in the micromanagement in the robo-advisory space, they work as our back office, essentially executing the trades. We curate the models for our clients, and we provide like 101 portfolio options that are well diversified and curated to their very personal needs. Also, I've mentioned before that we do have on our team an investment advisors with over 30 years of experience in wealth management. It's David over there. Let me call him again.
Okay, thank you so much.
Just one thing, and we charge 50 bips that we revenue share with Betterment, that they take 20 bips from that. So we make 30 bips on every trade.
Thank you, judges. Thank you so much. Wealth me up. Oh, give me 1 second. Okay, our next team is building an AI-powered digital almanac to prepare farmers using taxonomy, proprietary taxonomy, and knowledge graphs. Please welcome Numenic.
Thank you. I'll try to decipher what Anju just said throughout this presentation. Hi everyone, Daniel Lee. We are building Numenic, and
Dan Kelly.
Likewise building Numenic. So Numenic is an AI and ontology-powered platform for farmer digitization to activate the data of 600 million plus farmers. The premise of our business begins with the smallholder farmers. Smallholder farmers are 600 million farmers who represent 80% of global farmers, 1.7 million farmers who represent 88% of US farmers, whose operations are undigitized and for whom farming is financially infeasible. So whether it be climate, geopolitical, as we're feeling right now, socioeconomic or biological, risks are unrelenting for this neglected majority. And despite the technological explosions of these past decades, the underserved remain undigitized and therefore neglected. Whether it be cost barriers, admin burdens, standardization barriers, digital exclusions, or in most cases, off-farm jobs that they have to work and therefore a lack of time, digitization itself is a far cry for a lot of these farmers. And the industry, the ag industry itself, is kind of dealing with the figurative cart before the horse problem, where the industry itself deems small farmers cost prohibitive to service due to the absence of operational data, while they build sophisticated AI solutions that themselves require data to operate, to fine-tune, to tailor. So nobody wants to do the arduous work of onboarding smallholders to the digital age, and that's where Numenic comes in. We're trying to create the digital layer for smallholder data to level the field for all farmers. And we do that by hyper-facilitating farm digitization through LLM and ontology-enabled conversational data logging. Simply put, farmers just talk into the app, and we structure data for them, whether it be field spreadsheets, harvest cycles, asset details, etc. And our edge is that we have a multi-agent architecture that allows for custom enterprise ontology deployment for tailored data collection and analysis. And to put that into simpler words, insurance companies, governments, lenders, extension programs can come to us and tell us, hey, here's the data we want you to extract. These are our priorities. We convert that into an ontology, into a data schema. We divvy it up and then serve it to the multi-agent system. And then the data extraction can happen very simply. So with voice logging, flexible extraction, and automatic structuring, we can finally get digitization for smallholder farmers. So for farmers, this looks like having farmer-logged data and public data integrated into a single platform for intuitive analysis. For ag stakeholders, it's combining enterprise data, being able to collect farmer-logged data by licensing our platform and integrating it with public data to mitigate risk premiums. And an instance of risk premiums that are mitigated through us could be a pilot we've proposed to USDA and CIS that we're developing with our vice president right now. So currently, underwriters and loss adjusters to gain more farmer information have to interact with them specifically because farmers lack data. underwriters and loss adjusters spend resources collecting data, which means that they don't have as many resources to analyze said data, which would be better spent doing so. So this leads to inefficient policy and claims management that harms organizations and farmers. Through Numanac, farmers can conversationally log that data, and our multi-agent system extracts and structures that data according to USDA guidelines. Guidelines meaning that they tell us their extraction priorities, and again, we set up our system accordingly. And this translates to foundational records for farmers and reduced cost and expanded reach for insurers. The mission statement, in sum, is to eliminate the smallholder data bottleneck, to onboard the underserved majority to the digital age. And our revenue pillars likewise reflect that mission. We're trying to unburden the farmers of financial costs because, again, most of these net median income for US farmers, 88% of them is negative $2,400. Globally, the concept of income doesn't even apply in many cases. So we're trying to move the burden away from farmers and place it to the institutions and organizations that can instead absorb them. Our backbone is the B2B enterprise platform licensing model, and our secondary revenue sources will be the B2B data monetization and commission-based revenue models where we license out data or conduct recommendations depending on the farmer profiles that are in our system. Of course, with the farmer's permission, so we'll have to consider opt-in and opt-out systems to do so. In sum, it's time we accept that traditional SaaS models do not work in ag tech. Charging $500 to $600 per year for farmers, tens of thousands of dollars in equipments, hundreds of thousands to maybe millions of dollars in machinery is not really a feasible option for most farmers, again, who represent that underserved majority. We're a team with backgrounds spanning MIT, Yale, Palantir, US Marine Corps, Syngenta, and the traction, the growth you will be fueling is significant. So in less than a year, we've achieved many milestones, MIT Design X, lots of different prizes, the NVIDIA Inception program, some lectures that we were fortunate to give, and we were a featured startup at the World Agritech Innovation Summit. But most importantly, we're standing here in front of you for the Manolo Sanchez Prize. And where we're going, so moving forward, our AI and ontology-powered conversational logging platform will launch in the next couple of months. Voice logging capability is nearing finalization. We're engaging in pilot discussions with the USDA and CIS. We're engaging in pilot discussions with General Sacramento Economic Council, and our demo development itself is being guided by the first South Farm Credit board member and former chairman. So with your funding, we'll secure pilots and close contracts and deliver tangible milestones for whichever future is to come. And we don't intend to slow down. Our roadmap, I'll try to deliver this as succinctly as possible to launch those significant feature sets mentioned before, conversational and voice logging, to activate all three revenue streams, so commission, data, and enterprise, and to finalize multi-language support and initiate Canada and Latin rollouts. Optimistically, Q1 2026 to be determined. And we'll aggressively be pursuing any other downstream revenue opportunities that can make the venture itself sustainable. Right now, we're looking at all activations around $480 per farm records annually, and that will make us sustainable at around 2,000 farmers. So, farmers are desperate. Industry itself is very hungry, and technology is ready, and we're very excited to build with you. Thank you.
Thank you, Numanac. Sorry. Okay, let's go to judges.
Okay, thank you. That was excellent. Two questions. One, how do you validate the data the farmers are giving you? I appreciate that you're making it easy for them to report the data. And the second question is, in this current environment, are you still expecting anything from USDA? And with trade barriers, et cetera, you mentioned Canada, Latin America. Just curious how you're thinking about that.
Sure. So to answer the second part of that, absolutely do still expect full cooperation with the USDA. They've been very engaged with us over the past year, numerous conversations. Nothing is slowing any of those cooperative arrangements down. Effectively, the agricultural sector, both domestically and internationally, is well insulated from a lot of the effects that we're seeing. And because of the subsidy nature of smallhold farmers in the United States, there's no expectation that our work would do anything but help bolster any of the efforts moving forward. So that answers the first question. The Sorry, the second question. What was the first one again?
How do you validate the data from the farmers?
So that's a great question, and there's two sides to this, which is to augment farmer record keeping itself, and another to, as in the case with the USDA NCIS, to bolster the data extraction process. Right now, the pain point that we're trying to resolve is the resources that go into extracting data, not necessarily to replace that process in entirety. So what we would allow for is a automated extraction process along with file importations, perhaps if it's harvest data, they can import grain elevator receipts, et cetera. And that would largely fall under, again, the NCIS guidelines. But the main value proposition being that we can reduce the number of visits to the farms, we can reduce the number of personnel shortage that may be occurring, especially with the recent changes that are farmer facing, and instead have an LLM that is grounded by the ontology, the prioritization that's given top down by the NCIS in order to kind of take that burden off. And I also like to clarify that the NCIS is not necessarily our customer. There are member companies who are insurance companies that operate under NCIS guidelines, which means that the cuts in federal spending does not necessarily impact the insurance companies' obligation and need to support these farmers. Thank you.
Great, thank you for that pitch. So from my understanding, your pilot is forthcoming. I'm curious how you've started to validate or I'd say approach your proof of concept up to this point, and also how you've utilized past prize funding to get to this point.
Right. We spoke to a lot of farmers. They're very skeptical of technology, and deservingly so, because tech hasn't been the most forthcoming to farmers, but we've time and time again understood that when they trust you, and we've made multiple visits to Iowa. We were in San Francisco talking to farmers, and we started off as a kind of semantic search engine, like a search engine for farmers. Well, they'll find grants, etc. But we quickly realized that with the emergence of AI, you don't necessarily have to be an expert at what you're trying to find, but you have to be able to produce or provide your context effectively. And so when we were thinking about ways to help farmers provide context, we realized, hey, farm context is vast. There's no proper record-keeping process. And then we went to farmers with that idea. And our harshest advisor, who told me from the very beginning that she'll never pay for anything we build, said, hey, I'd actually pay for that. So that was, I almost shed a tear that day.
Yeah, and just as clarification, our oldest and grumpiest farm advisor is also the most excited for what has happened so far. But in effect, on the prize money side, from past experiences, we're bootstrapping. We're trying to avoid giving up any of the momentum to alternative interests. Essentially, the incentives are structured financially to go upstream with farmers to larger commercial. And so our prize money has gone directly to costs such as tokenization and computational expertise, because it is an emergent market and you need to bring in people that have unique vantage points and perspectives. And so we are very, very precise in how we grow.
I'm just curious about what the adoption of the tech looks like with farmers. I know you mentioned expanding potentially to Latin America. I'm wondering what the minimum level of technology needed to actually participate on the platform is.
Yes, great point. So in domestic and international senses, you could almost think of them as two separate entities, but the baseline platform can remain the same. So I'll just talk about the international version. Smartphone proliferation is essentially a given in any of these markets, so we don't have to worry about whether or not they have access to a smartphone. Connectivity might be the issue, though, and so what we're developing is a deployable system using a llama-based LLM formatting, which is deployable in the sense that it doesn't require constant connectivity. Farmers can log and utilize the app outside of connection, and then relay that data either through an extension office that occurs internationally, which is who we've mostly talked to outside of the United States. And that data can then be uploaded and extracted in those instances. So it's fully deployable across essentially any terrain. And that's what has led us to have our partnerships in our conversations with mostly Mexico and several countries in Africa.
I want to know more about your grumpy older farmer. What is he most excited about?
The hands-free logging, because most of these farmers, again, work off-farm jobs. They don't have time to sit on their desks for hours on end. So you're essentially paying more to pay for the farm digitization software. But instead, if you're able to log conversationally on your tractor on the field, then you cut the time, it's easier. And so the reason why we had such a focus on ontology rather than going straight to voice-based is because it matters how this is structured, it matters how it's validated, it matters how the AI asks for clarification or perhaps is able to kind of guide the farmer along the logging process. So the voice logging aspect is what they're most excited about. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Okay, I'll give you this first.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, judges, and thank you, Numanek. Last but not least, this team is building an equity crowdfunding platform connecting global investors with vetted entrepreneurs in emerging markets, starting with Syria, Lebanon, and the UAE. Please welcome all you, sir.
Well, good morning, everyone. We're nearly done. Thank you for your patience so far. My name is Yasser, and as we already mentioned, keep it. That's what I would like you to keep so far. We're trying to build an equity crowdfunding platform, the first of its kind, an equity crowdfunding platform designated to connect investors from all across the globe with people in Syria to start with. So yeah, I could bore you with all these details about, you know what Syria's been through, you know about the 14 years of war, you know the recent collapse of the previous dictatorship of a government. It's too big to even call it a government based on what happened. You probably know that over 90% of the people in Syria are below the poverty line. However, we're not going to do that. Let's talk about what it means to be a Syrian entrepreneur. Everyone in here is probably interested in being an entrepreneur or entrepreneurship in any way. And that's why let's put ourselves in the shoes of these three. These are the 3 finalists out of the 16 finalists of the Syrian Hackathon, which was sponsored by the Silicon Valley Committee in Syria. So basically, people from the Silicon Valley sponsored this event. Sadly, out of the 16 people with all brilliant ideas, only 2, well, there's enough funding for 2, sadly. So one of those people will not get the funding. And I'll spoil it to you, it's this amazing man over here. He has an idea to build an e-bank, basically, which is something that we don't even have in Syria due to the previous sanctions. Sadly, as I mentioned, he didn't get the funding because there's not enough funding. And that's why my team and I decided to do something about it. We want to actually do something. We want to help Syria. Think about Germany post-World War II. We would like to do this exact same thing. I'm actually German-Syrian as well, so I know both sides of the story. And based on what we learned in school about Germany, we want to do the same in Syria. So how would Al-Yusr work? Al-Yusr is very simple. The founder starts, let's talk about Tariq, the guy we mentioned earlier. Tariq basically uploads his idea, his business proposal, everything to our platform. We have custom trained an AI model that will then basically look into the business proposal, ask follow-up questions that our investors or experts will later on would like to know. So in the third step, our experts, after having gone through the AI model, would basically, our experts include lawyers, obviously, engineers, et cetera, So basically, yeah, our expert would look into that idea, vet it further to make sure that there is no scams, because in the end, let's be real, there will be potential for a scam, and we would like to we don't want to be accountable for that. We're not here to scam. We want to give a good image of Syria. And that's why once that idea is validated, it would go to another website where investors from all across the world, starting with our early adopters, which we'll mention in a minute, will basically look into that idea and hopefully give Tariq the funding he deserves to have our first bank in Syria, something you all are probably worried about, like how do they not have a bank? Well, welcome to sanctions or post-sanction Syria, which are being lifted, luckily. So yeah, that's how it works. I could also talk about the legal framework, but I'm not going to bore you with the legal details. The legal framework in Syria, well, the current government in Syria knows that we need the investments. They know that, and that's why the legal framework in Syria allows for foreign direct investments from investors all across the world. You're asking, okay, sounds great on paper, but does it actually work in real life? Luckily, yes, we do. We have talked to over 50 founders from all over the world, well, Syrians all over the world, and mainly in Syria, Lebanon, and the UAE. The UAE being because many founders went to the UAE to actually be able to launch a business because they were not able to do it before. All of them showed clear interest. All of them, myself included, would happily do something in Syria if we could. Sadly, right now, again, there's no funding. On the other hand, we talk to the investors because you think, okay, sure, if the project is good, we have founders, do you have the investors? Luckily, yes. So we have talked to people from all over the world. You see BCG here and you see the Silicon Valley Syria. Let me tell you a bit about the Silicon Valley Syria event. So basically, it's about founders from the Silicon Valley or CEOs, whatever, investors, even VCs, who have any type of roots to Syria or just want to help in the Middle East. So we're talking about even VCs, impact-related VCs, so impact investors, MENA-related VCs, and all that. We talked to them. We already have adapted them. They've shown clear interest. Talking about BCG, which you see this logo over here. Why do I have it? So we have talked to the BCG partners, 4 partners from the BCG Dubai team, BCG Dubai and Saudi, and they've shown clear interest. 2 of them actually are our mentors and advisors there. They're Syria, and one of them was, well, from my city, but basically, so that did help to talk to them. But they've shown clear interest, and they're helping us grow. First off, to advise us, to give us it does help, just speaking, I'm not gonna bore you with the details, but it does help. So yeah, we have the investors on one side, we have the founders on the other. Since we started talking about them, let me jump to this slide. So how will we keep on attracting the founders, etc.? For founders, I believe that if you're a founder, if you have an idea, you do anything. You do anything to get funding. You'll look into each event. Sadly, luckily, we have Mr. Manolo Sanchez here, and thank you for that, who is giving us this opportunity. There, you don't have it. 2 people had it from the donations and whatsoever. The rest don't. However, we'll still do targeted ads. We have talked to newspapers. We are already actually talking to newspapers about being published before even being out there, who have shown basically these newspapers will help us spread the word. And finally, word of mouth. Word of mouth does wonders in the region. If I have a friend not even a friend, who basically has this idea, I will send it to him. Moving on to the investors, we're already talking about the early adopters, VCs, founders, et cetera, so we have that already. We really have a network of early adopters. And further on, ROI with investing. It's something that all of us want to do here. We're not just, I think we all know now, it's not, back in the day, maybe I have a finance background, quant finance background actually. Back in the day, people cared more about just ROI, that's all we care about. Right now, we also care about doing good, and especially the younger generation. And that's how we will advertise ourselves. We already started talking about our plans, so let's talk a bit about the next couple of months, how it would look if I get the funding. We're currently working on our AI model. It's basically done. We're expanding our network still for advisors network. And I graduated in May, so by around June, July, we want to have our platform done. And we would like to basically get all the certifications, the legal certifications, SEC certifications, to actually get money as an investor, in a way, VC fund here to send it to Syria. By the end of 2025, we aim to have closed our first 10 deals, which is very ambitious, you think, but there is more than enough founders. So as long as we have the investors, that will work. And finally, we would plan to begin fundraising for scaling. Fundraising is not fundraising for us, but fundraising for the people. So yeah, and finally, just to mention, we can scale this product all over the world. We can go to Egypt, Saudi, and the USA. 3 diverse markets, but our product works for all 3. Finally, we already talked about, so how would we use the prize? I'm not gonna bore you with the financial and social impact. People need jobs, people need the money. The country's basically coming out of 14 years of sanctions, war, and et cetera. People need it. We're gonna be building jobs, we're gonna be building an infrastructure, we're gonna allow people to live a good life. Because right now, the average employee in Syria cannot afford 1.5 pounds of meat. So yeah, for the prize, it's 10K of that is gonna go to the lawyers. We need that, we need the legal certifications to be able to do that. That's one of our main issues right now. We'll also take around $5,000 to $10,000 to basically finish the platform, and the last 5K goes to the investment. And that's that. I already addressed all of that, so thank you very much. And if you have any questions, please let me know.
Thank you, all you, sir. And we'll start with judges.
Love the vision here. Just want to double click on everything that's been happening and still happening in Syria. Do you think the political and economic climate there now will deter potential investors from jumping on this incredible vision here?
Thank you for your question. It's a very smart question. It's a very important question to ask. I mean, Germany invested 300 million or donated 300 million euros 4 days ago to the Syrian government. I think the US is lifting the sanctions the world is basically helping Syria to move on, so I don't think that it will happen. And especially, we talked about our early adopters, they're investors. These are people who already have connections to Syria, they have roots, and they're ready to take more of a risk, let's say, on the country. They would like to take that risk. Moving on, obviously, once we grow, in a couple of months, once the situation is safer, there's a clear outline, you can look ahead, we'll have a bigger network of investors from all over the world, but I do not think that the current situation will have any issues, considering that we've had delegations from the US, from Germany, from all over the European Union visit Syria and show or say that they believe in Syria, and if the governments are believing in the country, so I don't think speaking of the sanctions, for example, the US is removing most of the sanctions, and we're doing it step by step to actually get rid of it. So I think by the time we have launched, it will be a way better outlook than it is right now.
Hi. Can you share a little bit more about the structure of the investments, how the money moves, and kind of where it is held when it's in the platform?
Oh, yeah, of course. I mean, that's why I kept this slide. This is the whole legal aspect that I don't want to bore you with. So basically, currently the framework works in Syria as in we'd get the investment, let's say from a Syrian investor from the Silicon Valley, we get the investment, we take it as a user, we create a holding company in Syria. Well, we have the money here, obviously, but we'll create a holding company in Syria, which is owned by the founder and the investor. So in that case, we keep the legal protection. We're handling that. We also keep a little share for us, but that's just to keep ourselves afloat, honestly. And so by having the holding company, we're ensuring that the investor is safe, and we will be liable. Well, not liable, in the end it's equity, so you can't really be liable, but we will be supporting the investors in every step. And basically that's the legal framework, if I understood your question correctly. Otherwise, if you have any follow-ups, please go ahead.
Yeah, just one follow-up. Do you envision the money being reinvested, or is it just going to kind of the founder itself and like staying with the entity?
I mean, it depends. You can still always exit. You can sell it. So in the end, just think of a VC. It's as simple as our products mainly empowering people to invest into VCs. Robinhood is currently doing something similar with enabling people, your average Joe, to invest into VCs or become a VC in a way. So we're doing the same just for more emerging countries, and we're starting with Syria due to my personal connection. But you can sell it later on, you can buy it. Probably many founders would want to actually at some point buy back their whole business and keep it to themselves, so you can sell that. And again, with higher risk comes more reward. It's just normal. So in that case, we're giving them a higher reward than, I mean, we've seen what happened in the US economy the last couple of days. So diversification going to Syria back in 2008. Well, I was 8 back then, but I know for a fact that while the economy was collapsing here, my parents, based on what my parents told me, Syria was thriving around that time. So it's a great source to diversify, especially these days.
Great, thank you. You mentioned both ROI and then somewhat like the social impact of what you're doing. I'd like to hear more about your theory of change, or where you see your product doing the most good for which entrepreneurs, or is it all Syrian entrepreneurs?
I mean, it's basically we're going to open it to everything, and we're going to let the investors have the power to decide where they want to invest their money in. However, I'll give you a very stupid example. So, you know, with the whole rubble due to the previous bombings, I have a friend who basically bought these machinery, like the machines to get rid of the rubble, and he bought them and started leasing them out for short terms. And within 2 months, he paid around $40,000. Luckily, he had the $40,000 to invest that, but within 2 months, he broke even. Right now, he's just making pure profit. It's been month 4. And you know, Syria's been basically bombed all over the place. So he has around 2 to 3 years where he can just use these machines without doing anything. But we need, these are 2 that he got. We need probably 20 of those. So it's something as stupid as that. If you want to open a supermarket or a pharmacy, the pharmacy in my hometown was bombed. My place, well, because we lived above the pharmacy, the whole building collapsed. So in our whole city, there's no pharmacy. Someone with a pharmaceutical background would want to open a pharmacy. They don't have the money. We're allowing them to get that. So you can do anything depending on what you prefer as an investor.
Okay, so driven by the investors
Yeah.
versus the platform. Okay, great, thank you.
Are those all our questions? Okay, if those are all the questions,
Thank you very
thank
much.
you, judges. Thank you, all you, sir. Actually, before you sit down, sorry, can I get all the finalists up here? Even if you didn't present, I'd like you all here. I'm going to ask the same for the judges if that's okay later, but... Okay. I'd just like us to all thank the finalists for their pitches today. Applause. Maybe I'm biased, but I think they all did an incredible job today. Also, I just wanted to say they're all very committed and have thoroughly prepared for this event. And I hope that you all can continue supporting them in other ways. So thank you again for all your pitches. Thank you so much. I will let you all go.